So far, so good.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. First time for everything.
Yeah. How do you feel? A little nervous?
Nah, not really.
No.
I've been interrogated before.
Really? Why?
Big story. Like we say, like when you're young,
Yeah.
you go into let's just say in our old neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
there used to be a lot of things used to go on, and
Yeah.
at least I was interrogate me
Really?
because I was the only one who would talk to the cops, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And pretty much was like you're like one of those kids that's real educated,
Yeah.
and everybody's talking like all
That one
hood,
kid. Yeah.
and I'm the only one like, yes sir, no sir.
That's me.
Please don't.
That's
Please
who
don't.
I am.
Like my friends would be like,
Yeah.
"Man, shut up," and I'm like, no. If I talk to him, we'll get out of the situation.
Yeah.
And that was me.
Yeah. No, I get you. I'd honestly, I've talked my way out of like cops and stuff like that like many times, and I don't know, like I feel like if you like retaliate or like you like oh, you're a cop, you're a fucking asshole and shit like
Yeah.
that, like then like of course you're gonna receive that backlash from it, you know, and it's
Yeah.
like a respect kind of thing. And I feel like those people that, you know, get into a cops, it's probably like because of their own doing, you know. It's not really like the cops' fault sometimes, you know. They're just like very I don't know, but some cops can be assholes, but
Well, yeah. Whenever they pull you over and ask you a question,
mm-hmm.
you shouldn't be like, "Why you pulling me over, dog?" You know,
Mm.
Just like, "Sir, why you pulling me over?
Yeah.
Here's my driver's license. Here's my ID.
Yeah.
I live down the street. Like, can I just go home
Mm-hmm.
and then go from there?" And I'd be like, "Why the hell you pulling me over, man?" You know, and all this kind of stuff. And
Yeah, because I mean, you're poking at a fucking
yeah, the guys
sleeping
are
bear.
the guy's already mad because he pulled you over because
Yeah.
he's seen you walking with guys and everybody's having matching colors and rags, and
Mm-hmm.
you're the only one that's not dressed up that way, but you're walking the same direction because you gotta go home,
Right.
right? So
Right. So what was it like growing up for you?
well, we gotta talk about what 80s, 90s.
Yeah, what was that
You
like?
know, the 80s. Oh man, they were awesome, dude.
Yeah.
80s were awesome because you know, from 83, there's a big mixture. You're growing up with black kids,
Mm-hmm.
and their grandparents are mainly Black Panthers, you know.
Okay.
So they come from that, and then you end up going to your friend's house who's Jewish,
Uh-huh.
and it's just totally different. And then you go to your friend's house who's Indian,
Yeah.
and then also your other friends that are Koreans and Vietnamese.
Yeah.
So it's a mixture of just like culture.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody's looking at the Bruce Lee movies and
Yeah.
Kung Fu Mania, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty
Pretty
cool.
awesome.
I mean, like, I don't. For me, it's I even though we have technology, even though we have like, you know, social media and all this kind of shit, the fucking internet. Like, to me, it feels like everything's so divided right now. Like,
Yeah.
it's like everybody's kind of like in their own little bubble, you know, and like. I mean, that's so cool. Like, how do you think that affected you being exposed to all those different, like, cultures?
Let's just say like this. You grew up in a neighborhood where it's primarily Latinos, right?
Right.
On one side. And then you go to the other side of the neighborhood, and then it's like different cultures.
Yeah.
You see different cars. You know, your mom and your dad are on a metro bus,
Yeah.
which that was transportation back in the day.
Yeah.
And then you had to get your transfer and everything like that. And then when you go to your other friend's house,
Mm-hmm.
they have a Mercedes-Benz. They got BMWs.
And it's so crazy because it's like not that far.
Yeah,
it's like a block away.
If you walk from here to maybe 5 blocks down, they have a Mercedes-Benz parked in the driveway.
That's so crazy.
And you're in the apartment complex. Everybody got these janky rides looking like they're Sanford and Son
Yeah.
vehicles. I don't know if you ever seen that cartoon. I mean, that show
Yeah.
where it's like the rust buckets,
Mm-hmm.
and we're working on our cars, and they're taken to the mechanic shop.
Yeah.
Or, you know, some of them were engineers and
Mhm.
had their own gas stations that they own.
Yeah.
And we're over here working, our parents were working like at a warehouse and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you just see the difference in
classes.
money and in classes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so crazy like that. I'm going like how we were talking about the other day. It's like
Mhm.
you see fucking hierarchies
Yeah.
in life, and it's so like, I mean, I didn't like. Now that I think about it, it's like I saw it like in school, you know, it was like the cool kids and the popular, the rich kids and the broke kids and all that
Mhm.
kind of shit. But I didn't really understand that there's hierarchies in everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's all out there.
Yeah, you just gotta align yourself and position yourself. Like as a young kid,
Yeah.
do you want to win or do you want to be in the same culture that you're in? You know,
Yeah.
like you wake up in the morning and it's like your mom's hauling ass to go cook you some eggs and, all right, mijo, see you later on, and they go to work.
Yeah.
Then you go to your other friend's house and they got a maid. They're cooking everything. They're cleaning everything. You're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, how's this? You know, we're
Yeah.
like 9 years old and Like, wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. No, dude, I had friends like, we had a friend like that too. That had a fucking maid in his house.
Yeah.
Did everything for them. It's so crazy.
Yeah, and then you're used to waking up and your parents are like, "Hey, cabrón, go ahead and clean up."
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
Just to go hang out with your friends, or probably go,
or just to go outside, or just to do anything. Really, it's you gotta fucking you have to. There's that it's like a currency almost. It's like a you're every time you wash dishes or you fucking go take a trash, like you build points almost, which is kind of crazy, but it shows you like, hey, like that's real world shit. Like there's a point system.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how there's some people that are like not like are entitled. They're like, oh, like I don't need to do all that shit and whatnot. And it's like, bro, like that's real life. Like this is what it is.
Yeah. When you got friends that come over and then like you say, you have your friend who's a maid.
Yeah.
And then they come to your house or your apartment and they're like, damn, you got to clean this up? I'm like, yeah dude, no, I don't do that. Well, okay, well, you don't have to wait outside for right now while I clean up.
Dude.
Because my mom and dad don't play that game, If the thing ain't clean, y'all can't come over.
No, I get you.
Or if y'all playing with stuff, y'all gotta pick it up. And my all-time friends, they make a mess and then they leave and you're like, oh, great.
Yeah.
And your mom and dad are like, hey, what's going on here? Like, oh, shit. Well, they came over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who came over. Clean that shit right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think it's like what I noticed like with Hispanic parents too, it's like, there's a higher value in objects and things like that, which like, it's a weird kind of thing. So it's like you shouldn't be like that. Where it's like, maybe it's a little weird that we're, I guess, putting so much value in this cup,
Mm-hmm.
But you fuck up my cup or like you scratch it, it's
on.
Yeah, it's on. And I don't know why. Like, why is that?
I don't know, man. It's like the old school mentality, I guess. They work hard for their stuff, and if you messed it up, it's like I got a fond memory when I was a kid. I wanted to be a DJ, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was back like 88, 89. So I see these guys on the Soul Train. They were showing like how they were doing mixtapes.
Yeah. And
they were scratching it up. So I see Grandmaster Flash in the previous 5. Anyways, my dad has a Lionel Richie. It was a vinyl.
Yeah.
So I get the vinyl and I put it on, and I'm playing it, right? And my dad's like, Tato Madres, that's a good song. And I start scratching, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, we don't do that here. And I'm like, well, no, I'm trying to do what they're doing on TV. He's like, well, you make that fucking money like the TV, then you can scratch your own shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And that shit fucks up the needle. I didn't really know that.
Yeah, well, if you know how to scratch correctly, it won't mess up the vinyl.
Oh, okay.
But his thing was like, I paid for that.
Don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So then I go to another one, and we bought the album of Michael Jackson, Thriller.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, boy, if you scratch this shit up, I'm gonna whoop your ass. So when he was at work, I would be scratching, but mixing.
Yeah.
But I never became anything because every time, like you just mentioned, value on their things.
Yeah.
They whip your ass if you play it on the record.
Yeah.
You mess with the tapes. What was the other one? The 8-track. That was before our time, but they still had it in the vehicles.
What is that?
An 8-track is like a tape, but it's like a big old. It's like you know what a VCR is, right?
Right.
Okay, so it looked like one of those, but you pushed it in and it played music.
Okay.
On the radio. That was before the tapes.
That's so crazy. I just look on my phone and I got billions of songs.
Yeah, so like
Isn't that crazy?
Like for us, it was funny because a lot of our friends had they say they had the Walkman, right? The portable one.
Yeah.
And we're in the hood, so if you had one of those, we thought you had money. So
really?
They had tapes and they would be playing it around. And then sometimes whenever we had our big boom boxes, we used to walk around with those with batteries. And and
you'd carry them around.
Yeah, and that sucks because
so
you'll be carrying it around, right? You'd be at the park, but the moment that shit broke down, everybody was mad at you because they were jamming out to the music and you messed it. You messed up the vibe.
It's so crazy too, because like music today is so fucking accessible, and let's just connect to the little Bluetooth. That's it, easy. And I didn't now that you're putting that in my perspective, it's like I didn't realize how inaccessible music was. So it's like a lot of people going like a lot of days without music because just of how inaccessible. And now that puts a whole different point of view on like celebrity or like artists, and how like upheld they were, like I don't really remember what it was like, seeing Michael Jackson, but like I bet like it was like that was like a god walking amongst us, like imagine how fucking famous and crazy like his life was, dude.
Yeah, well, for being a kid to a grown up,
Yeah.
You know, as a little kid, you see a kid on TV,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, whenever I start making it on Soul Train, they started. I'm kind of putting the age on myself, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, you see him on Soul Train, you see him on all these shows that were coming out,
Yeah.
and he's a little kid singing, and you're a little kid like, wow, that's pretty cool. I wish I had that lifestyle, right? But little do you know, he's not having a good childhood. He's actually working. He's like a slave to the craft.
That's so fucking crazy.
So then to see him, you know, and then like he grows up, you're growing up as well, and then he's doing all this.
And he doesn't have a normal childhood.
Yeah, and he's doing all these moves, but the timing of everything that he's doing every day just to perform.
Yeah.
So he at nighttime he's practicing, then in the daytime he tries to get some sleep, and then he goes back to the show and starts doing that. That's, you know, a lot of people want to be, you know, rap stars and stuff like that. Everybody wants to be a rap star. Everybody wants to be a, you know, like a rock star or anything like that. Just famous in general. But once you get to that level, you know, man, that's a lot. That's a lot that goes to it. You know.
Fuck that.
It's like you're
million, bro.
It's like if you're working an hourly job, right?
Yeah.
And you just hate your job.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, shit. You're like,
I'd rather have that than like have like a billion people try to like take pictures with you and like, you know, like, I don't know if you saw that video, but like there's a video of like Kim Kardashian coming out of her car and some guy like comes up and like sniffs her ass.
Oh my god.
Like, imagine that's bro.
Crazy.
Like, fuck that. Like a million people trying to figure out where you live.
I mean, you know what would be more fucked up and ironic? If she didn't wipe her ass that day.
It's so funny.
That'd be so messed up. You're so fun.
Oh my
shit,
god.
Damn.
Like, fuck, I shouldn't have did that. Yeah, it's crazy, man. And so like, you lived in Houston all your life, right?
Yeah.
So how has it changed since then? Cause
well, like I think is
like what part of the city you grew up in?
I grew up in Spring Branch.
Okay.
Well, I was born in Southwest Side.
Okay.
And then we moved from there to Spring Branch.
All right.
And the first apartment complex we lived in was like owned by white people.
Yeah.
And it was always nice and clean, right? Nice and clean. And then there was never really any problems. Mm-hmm. So when we go to the next apartment complex was so we lived by the school. I think it was off of Westview and Silver, and that was Westview Gardens. So anybody that I knew going to school went to that school, and that was like from 83 to 85. Then 86 we ended up moving to Shady Villa, which was maybe like 2 miles away. And those are another apartment complex that the white folks own, and that was pretty cool, man, because like it was like a little horseshoe, but everybody was a tight-knit community, so you could be outside in front, and all the kids were playing out there. You know, they'll be on their bikes, they'll be wrestling. We would always be wrestling because we were always watching WWF. You know, and the
WWF.
Yeah. So before it was WWE, it was WWF.
What the fuck? Why did they change the one letter? What was that?
Well, the reason they changed it is because they were getting sued. Because I think it was like Wildlife Foundation. I don't know. And then, you know, like Vince McMahon was like, screw it. Well, we'll go ahead and change it to WWE, which they ended up having to do that because some people were saying that wrestling was fake. And then he's like, it's not fake, it's entertainment. You know, oh, it is fake now, it's entertainment. So, but from there we were.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. That's
cool.
So
we were wrestling. We would be out there wrestling, and it was cool because you'll be out there and everybody was on their apartment complex on the balconies, and they're rooting for the kid who's you know wrestling and doing all this kind of stuff. So I like those apartments. And then that was from 86 to 89. Then we moved to the other side of the hood, which this was like on Long Point and
I know Long Point.
Hammerly and area. So wherever your mom lived at in those apartments, we lived 2 apartment complexes on the other side. So wherever your mom lived, it was nothing but Latinos, really. Yeah. So not a lot of black people, right? So where I moved to, there was everything, but that's when we got exposed to gang banging and stuff like that. Because summer of '89, we moved in. Yeah. And as soon as we're eating dinner, there's a drive-by shooting, and we're all jumping on the floor. Yeah. And my parents were like, "Where the fuck did we move to?" I was like, "Yeah, I picked it. I was happy on the other side, you know. I liked it on the other side." So. Yeah, from 89 to 99. Yeah, it was a big culture shock because we had like we always make fun of this. Like our black friends, they were, you know, the grown-ups weren't racist, but they were like, "Hey, I don't want that negrito here," right? Yeah. So they were like, "Hey, I don't want that mojito here." So my friends are like, "What is a mojo?" I was like, "Oh man, it's nothing, man. You know, it's nothing." So we're growing up. So one day my friends go, hey, I know what a fucking moyo is. Stop calling me a fucking moyo.
Yeah.
And we were just laughing, and then we started teaching our black friends, Spanish.
Yes.
And then
I love that shit.
We showed them how to, they were showing us how to, it was funny because in 92, 93, they were playing music from Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
And back then you couldn't really play hip hop or rap.
Yeah, if you weren't like.
So all of a sudden the beat just drops at a party at the cafeteria, and then one of my friends whose name is Saul, he's a big tall black guy, and he started just dancing with the girls, and we're all just standing there like, man, we gotta learn how to dance like that because he's dancing with everybody.
Yeah.
But at that time, the way you dance hip hop wasn't the way we dance it now. Our clothes, it was like very far away. The girls over here, you over there, and you were just barely moving. But they were like, you can't dance like that, And then the Latinos would come around and we were dancing cumbia, salsa, merengue, and then the black guys would be like, hey, show me how to do that. And all right, come on, here you go. Yeah. So we, everybody helped each other out.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet that's kind of cool. That's so crazy. Like, I can't imagine that. Like, to me, it's like, dude, like black friends, I had a bunch of them. Like everything was just like easy melded together. And it just. Like, that's what I tell a lot of, like, that's what I say a lot here, but, like, the 80s and 90s are just so fucking primitive. Like, I really you really don't understand, like, how much time has changed. Yeah. Yeah. Like for example, you guys look at the YouTube videos. Yeah. You see all this bullshit they went through, right? Yeah. The black guys and black women. But I grew up in an era where they all had big mamas. Like, the grandmother was always there. Yeah. The grandfather was always there. And one thing I like about our era, 80s and 90s, if for some reason I'm walking down the street and I'm leaving your house and I did something wrong here, by the time I got down the block, they were already busting my ass because they were like, anybody, they have their sticks, they have their belt. Hey, motherfucker, you shouldn't have fucked up. I'm what's going on. Yeah. And now you can't even spank your kid. You can't yell at your kid. If you yell at him, oh, you hurt his feelings or her feelings. And even then,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Like kids like call CPS on their parents. Yeah. Like, dude.
Like, back then, just like anytime you hear George Lopez or any other comedians, even Dio Hughley, they'll be like, your parents will tell you, oh, you gonna call CPS? Go ahead, motherfucker, go ahead. Bring them. By the time they get him, bust your ass, and by the time they get here, you're gonna really want to leave, Yeah. Or they were call get the phone or put it on. Here, go ahead and talk to them. No, I'm not. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call. And then you hang up the phone, and you got to deal with it. So, just like that era alone is like that molded what we call America, right? And then somewhere down the line in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, now we got this cancel culture crap. So it's just like whatever was done back then, they're trying to erase it.
But it's like, I feel like it's making people into fucking pussies, dude. Yeah. Like, fucking lame ass, like, bro, like, any type of, like, adversity, they shy away from it. Any type of, like, social, like, interactions, they don't want to do it. Things that are hard, like, if they fail once, they give up. I mean, I'm kind of guilty of that, too, I had that, but it's like if it wasn't for my mom, like, beating the shit out of me and fucking,
get you in line,
and, like, fucking talking, like, giving it to me real. Like, real as fuck, as cold and as bitter as the truth is, like, hey, like, this is what it is, and this is how you're gonna survive. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing's gonna be put on a fucking silver plate for you. You gotta fucking work for whatever it is that you want. And it sucks that, like, I hope in some type of way, like, that comes back. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, it's really, like, the kids are gonna fucking be running businesses here in the next 20, 30 years. Yep. It's crazy. I don't know. Are you kind of, like, afraid of that? Like, are you like what do you think about, like, what's gonna happen here in the next 30 years?
I don't know. It's like Reagan said, it's gonna take only one generation to mess everything up, right? So really, you got to look at that quote and, like, see where the generation is going, because we started from our generation was, you got punished for everything you did wrong. And there was no talking back. Like, I'm surprised how many times these kids talk back to their parents and they just say, you're gonna have a timeout.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. It's like, imagine, like kids say, like, fuck you, mom, and all this kind of shit. Like, how?
It's like this funny joke that Dio Hughley used to, what he said before. He goes, a kid is talking back to his mom, and it's a black kid, and we're all waiting to see what's gonna happen to his boy. You know he's gonna get his ass whooped in front of everybody. But the little white kid is yelling, and everybody's rooting for the mom to whoop his ass, but the mom doesn't whoop his ass. She's just like, you know what? It's okay, sweetie. I'll get you what you want. And he's like, what the fuck? You know, like that makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense because at the end of the day, like, this is what's gonna happen to society. If you don't get punished for certain things, you're gonna go talk to the wrong person that way, and they're gonna smack the hell out of you. Yeah. Smack that. And not only that, but a lot of people nowadays, they don't want to fight. They want to pull out their guns, and it's just crazy.
It's so easy.
It's so crazy. Easy. It's crazy the way the world is now.
How has gun violence? I mean, because we were talking about drive-bys and everything, and how you experienced that as a kid. So it's like, how was gun violence? How have you seen that more through your lifetime?
Well, let's just say, as a kid and as a teenager, you know, most people have they had guns, but they knew the consequences. Right. You know,
these motherfuckers don't.
Back then, like, if somebody, you know, like in our neighborhood, we weren't allowed to really snitch because we just live by that code. You know, we just live by the code.
Yeah.
And like I tell my kids all the time, because I got a 22-year-old and I got a 14-year-old, and I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, it's okay if you don't want to snitch, but at the same time, if they need your help in solving this case, I don't care if they call you a snitch or not, but you just gotta. You're not from the street, you know. My kids aren't from the street. You're not from the street, you know. It's like, it's a different code, right? But at the end of the day, like, what we saw was a lot of gun violence, but it was accessible to everybody because everybody knew a guy who had a burner. And a burner, for the kids that don't know, is like, you just get a gun that already has bodies on it. Once you use it, you throw it away or get rid of it or sell it again and somebody else will use it. Yeah. And you hope it didn't have your prints. So that's the other thing too, you know. And a lot of the kids these days, you know, they just want to bold up. They want to take out a gun. But sometimes even when you take out a gun, you're not really trying to use it. You're just trying to scare somebody. But what happens when that person's not scared of anything?
And they got nothing to lose.
They just start beating the shit out of you. Yep. Perfect example. If you go on YouTube, I saw this one video where this old man takes out a gun and he's trying to scare the teenager. This teenager starts busting him up. And there's like 4 cameras in an apartment complex. They're showing this poor guy getting his ass whooped. But in our generation, it's like, hey, if you take out a gun, you better be willing to use it, because at the end of the day, let's just say, for instance, I pull out a gun on a guy. Yeah. And he lives down the block from me, right? What makes me think he's not going to turn back around and come with a gun and actually shoot me because I showed him a gun. Yeah. So that's
that's a lesson one of my friends told me, and he was like, dude, like, now it's like it's not even now, but it's like any type of thing you have with a gun, at any point you take it out, like it will be used, like it's supposed to be used the minute you take it out. And like you said, it's like, it's not movie shit, like it's not like freeze, like I don't want to shoot you, no, it's kind of, it's like, no, like the second it comes out, it will be used. He's ready. Know? Yeah, he's ready. That's
the same thing like with us. Whenever, because I'll never forget, it was like we used to go to this school named Landry Middle School. Okay. I think it was like 92, 93. I was in 6th grade. And then this guys, they came out and we're walking out of school, and he's like, hey, are you ready? And I'm like, oh yeah, for what? And they're like, oh, we're about to have a rumble. I was like, damn, I just barely came to the school. Like, what's a rumble? They took us to the park. I'm like, oh shit. It was like a dogfight, you know. Really? And you're like 12, 13-year-old kid just trying to swing at these adult looking guys, because that's the way it was, right? So one of those, we were at the park, and there was like this young guy who was like maybe 16, 17. He got shot. And then just think about being that age and you see somebody getting shot, and you're like, oh, damn, that's actually
so you watched that happen?
Yeah, we watched that happen, and we're all running. Holy shit. But we're running, and we're trying to, you know, at the time we didn't have cell phones, so you're trying to get to the nearest payphone, which is probably like 7 blocks. So by the time you get to the payphone, and by the time the ambulance gets there, it's almost too late. So, oh my god! Like this youngster, you know, he loses his life over what we call gangbanging, or, you know, just to be in a situation, or sometimes you're not even in a gang, but you're just affiliated because you're hanging out with your best friend, or your best friend is the one who's walking you, or your best friend is the one who's in the gang, or his older brother or his uncle, you know, who are like in their 30s or 40s. Yeah. Which everybody thought was old, right? And I'm like, damn. Now I'm 42, but I wouldn't take my kids, or even when you guys would come visit us when y'all were growing up, you know, me and your parents never associate ourselves with people like that, you know? Yeah. Because we've seen things happen, you know?
Yeah, and it's like, I'm like, that's the thing, dude. It's like things can go south real fucking quick. Yeah. Real fucking quick.
Especially like if, like for example, we live in a suburb, right? So everything's everything's cool around us. It's like when you go down the block, if you don't know somebody over there, they could be having a bad day.
Yeah.
And then you walk into that area and they're like, man, fuck you. You're like, well, I don't even know you, but fuck you back. And then it starts the big escalation of arguing and fighting. Mm-hmm. And then that's when, like we say, the guns come out because that's what they have and they're just having a shitty day.
Yeah.
But you just got dealt that because you just happen to walk there. So.
Oh yeah, dude, and like people that I know people that drive and they're riding people's asses and shit, and it's like, oh, I'm in a car, like fuck that, right? Or like I'm the toughest motherfucker around here, and it's like, dude, like these guys will shoot outside of the fucking windows now. Yeah, they'll shoot you. They don't care who you are. You're just another number. You're just another nobody, you know. And like I just it's crazy how, like, you know. Because one of like my, I guess, things is like anger and like young men. That's like one of my, like, I find that very interesting just because, like, you know, like even myself, I had to deal with that. And it's just crazy how that shit will lead you to, you know, ending somebody's life. And then what happens after you do that, you know, like what I couldn't even comprehend what life would be like after I killed somebody, you know, and I can only imagine what it's like for people that have. You know, and it's just a wild ass fucking thing. It's a wild ass thing.
Well, yeah, the way I see it too is like mental health is at an all-time high. You know. Yeah. We come from, like I tell my kids, we come from a neighborhood where you know, post-traumatic stress, right? Yeah. And they say it's only for the military people, but you gotta understand. You come from an era where all they did was whip your ass, and you always had to watch your back. You know, they were snatching kids as well. They were raping kids. They were doing all this kind of stuff when we were growing up. Right. But there's more of that now being exposed. You know?
Yeah, and the thing is just because of the media thing, where it's like everybody sees it now, and I mean, it's more prevalent because of, you know, you could like I said, like you could take a video now on your phone, but then how you're telling me you have to walk 7 blocks just to go get a payphone? Like, what the fuck?
No, you're not even walking. You're running.
Oh my god!
And dude, you better hope you have a quarter, cause
I carry no change with me at all.
If you didn't have a quarter, man, you were in trouble. Or if you hit 911 on the phone, sometimes it would take a while. Or you hit 411 and they're trying to like send somebody out there. Yeah. But the way that things are now compared to then, I mean, it's a big upgrade. Yeah. You know, it's like right now, if you were to call the cops, and we're sitting here, right, and they call the cops, they're showing up. Right. No questions asked. And our neighborhood is like, is there a body on the ground? No. Has anybody got beat up or shot? Are they bleeding? No. We're not showing up.
That's like, so fucking wild. We'll show
up. We'll show up whenever somebody has to be carted out of there. You know. Yeah. Or like if it's a lady who got whipped by her husband, you know, they're like, okay, now we're showing up. Yeah. Because it's a woman. But if it was a guy, they're like, anyway, we'll take our time.
Yeah. No, I get you.
But it was just mainly on our neighborhood. It was like you said, the Wild West. You know, every time you would walk to school, it was always a fight. There was always somebody trying to jump you. There was always somebody trying to stab you. Or my all-time favorite, you're talking to somebody's girl since 3rd or 4th grade, and then he gets jealous and he's trying to come up on you. And at the time,
that's happened to me before.
It's like at that time, you know, you have friends. Well, everybody will back you up and, hey man, it's okay. Yeah. And then my all-time favorite thing is whenever a guy, he says he's real tough, but he has a group and he's like, hold me back, man, hold me back, and nobody holds him back, and he's like looking stupid, like, oh, this guy's serious. I wasn't serious.
So did you fight a lot as a kid?
Oh, yeah. I always had a fight. Yeah. I always had a fight because, like, my mom, my dad, my sister. Yeah. You know, like I tell my kids, I'm very loyal to my family, and that's sometimes not good because sometimes they're in the wrong, but since they're my family, I still got to back them up. Right. And then when I get inside the house and then they tell me what happened, I'm like, oh, shit, that was your fault. Then I got to fight. Damn. You know, so it was a lot of fighting back then, yeah, because no one really ever told us, hey, you shouldn't fight. You know, fighting is not good. Like I say it like this because I was an MMA fighter. I do a lot of jiu-jitsu. We do.
We'll get into that.
We do all that stuff, right? But like I tell my parents all the time, like, man, a lot of fights could have been avoided if you just left those people alone. Yeah. But when they're kids bullying, I guess, the adults, and you're the oldest, you got to be, Bruce Lee at that moment, or you got to be Superman at that moment. And sometimes what I would laugh about now, but back then it wasn't funny, right? If somebody says something to my dad or my mom, and he's like, look, if they beat you up, I'm busting your ass.
So you can get 2 ass beatings.
So both of the parents were rooting. They're outside screaming, chingale, dale la madre, dale la madre. And you're just like, damn. And then you're in the kid the next day on the school bus with 2 black guys, and you're like, hey man, you all right? He's like, yeah. You had to fuck me up like that. I was like, hey man, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to.
Mom was gonna whip my ass if I didn't whip your ass.
I didn't want to take 2 L's, you know, like, because if I walked in, my dad's, así cabrón, perdiste, vente pa acá, you know.
Yeah.
Or that walk of shame, like in our neighborhood, people would always be outside, right? And like if little kids were getting in a fight, everybody would run outside and look. And you just wanted to be a one-on-one. Now you got to put on a show for everybody. And this was like a damn stadium. Everybody's coming out of the apartment complex rooting.
That's so fucking crazy.
Kick his ass, and everybody's cheering, and you're getting your ass whooped. I'm trying, you know, or whatever.
That's so like Rome Coliseum type shit right there. That is, and it's just like it's in our fucking blood. It's in our DNA. It's like who we are.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so wild. That's so. So how long did you fight for? Like when did you start getting into MMA?
Let's just say, well, I had to keep a promise to my wife and my son, right, and my daughter. I said, if I get a house, I'm gonna go fight. And they're like, all right. So we went from, I saw it 2008 when it was Stephen Bonner and Forrest Griffin on Spike TV. Okay. It was like the biggest thing, right? So I was like, damn, I could do that. Yeah. If they're fighting like that, I could fight. I know I'm a good fighter. Mm-hmm. So I thought I was, right? So anyways, we go from there from 2008 to 2013. We moved into the house, and then like in January of 2014, I started training. At this time, I'm 34. Well, I did not know that I was too old to fight, like to start fighting. In other words. So
when did you start?
2014. I was 34. Okay. So we started there, and then I think it took me 2 years because I started at 36. I think that was my first fight. Mm-hmm. And we started fighting because you had to do we had to start doing jiu-jitsu and you know, kickboxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, which I've always been a decent wrestler, but I was more like WWE style or WWF, you know, like I could submit people real quick just by doing certain moves or taking down because I've always been a big guy. Right. But then when you go against another big guy and you try to do that move, man,
some of that shit doesn't work.
It don't work. Yeah. So I trained for like maybe 2 years doing all that, and then we had our first cage fight. Well, before we got to the cage fight, this is very important for people to understand. You could always train for a fighter, and you could look at the videos and everything like that. But once you get to the actual place or the weigh-ins, and if your opponent doesn't show up, you done train for 6 months for no fucking reason. So
what? So that happened to you?
Yeah, that happened to me. So the guy we had to go against was Mikey Patterson, who's a friend of mine now. Mm-hmm. It's pretty funny. We kicked our asses, and then the next day we were like friends. Right?
Isn't that cool?
Never met each other.
Isn't that so fucking awesome?
So what happened is we were there. His opponent didn't show up. My opponent didn't show up. So like, they're like, hey, do you want to fight this guy? And I'm like, yeah, I guess, you know, whatever. So we go from there, and it was pretty funny because we had the same story. Mm-hmm. We both started at 260 pounds. Mm-hmm. We worked our way down to 160, and then we ended up fighting at 175. Wow. So that's crazy. That's a big marshmallow man to being a guy who's fit. So yeah. And he had my same story. You know, he was young. He was younger than me. He was maybe 22, 23 maybe. Okay. But he was like, damn, you're actually an older guy and you're doing it. And you have a family. So we started talking. And I think I had like 5 fights, 5 or 4, I don't remember. Mm-hmm. But I remember the last one. Like I was supposed to win that one. Yeah. There was a hype train behind me. I was about to become professional. Yeah. This guy rocks me with a right hand. Didn't see it coming. The whole fight, I don't remember anything about the fight until I got to the locker room. Really? And they're like, decision, you lost. I'm like, oh, great, okay. Well, I guess I lost. And I saw my face. I'm like, damn, this sucks. And I was like 40 already. Yeah. I was like, man, this sucks, dude. Like, you know, I should have been a professional. You know, everybody wants to go to the UFC, Legacy, you know, all these kind of promotions. Mm-hmm. But it's a grind. Oh, yeah. It's a grind to get there. And then once you get there, and if you're pretty old in the fight world, you know, it's like we tell everybody, you know, your body's going to tell you when and when not to fight, right? Mm-hmm. Or you're trying to do the weight cuts, and it's brutal because you're kind of basically starving yourself, or you know, you're like, oh yeah, I could cut 30 pounds in 3 days, which is doable, but at the end of the day, you're hurting yourself and you're hurting your body. And then you got to rehydrate and got to get back into it. So
it's a lot of up and down.
It's a lot of stuff, and like I mentioned, it's like you could always get hurt in training. Mm-hmm. So some of my fights, I ended up hurting my thumb. Yeah. On the second fight, I blew out my clavicle. So I'm fighting. The clavicle is like right here, the collarbone area. So the guy takes me down. He slams me.
Yeah.
And I had a tear on it before, but when the guy dropped me, like it was, I don't know how heavy he was, but might have been like 200 pounds. So he slams me down. My right arm goes limp, and I'm like, oh shit, I can't move my right arm. So it was a funny story because we're sitting in the corner, right? And then they go to second round. They're like, hey, you okay? And I'm talking to my guys in Spanish. I'm like, hey, no le digas. Don't tell them that I can't feel my right arm because they're going to stop the fight. And the guy goes, hey, what do you say? I was like, my guy goes, oh, he says okay. And then the guy didn't speak Spanish, so we were laughing in the corner and like, what do you think you're going to do? I was like, I'm going to try to take him down. So we go to second round and try to take him down. I'm trying to punch with my right, with my hands just dangling.
So you're just like...
Yeah, my hand looked like if I had like a little baby hand, but I couldn't punch it. I could just bring it up to
you're like
to
right
a certain
here.
location, you know.
Okay.
So I had it down, and the guy's like, oh, I'm going to get him. So I kept punching him with my left and doing everything possible, trying to take him down, and he kept grabbing the damn cage, and I'm trying to argue with the referee, but when I'm arguing, I'm getting kicked and punched. So I'm like, okay, shut up and keep going. Yeah. So then I take the guy down. We go to the third round, and then I couldn't feel my arm. I couldn't feel it. The guy goes, hey, what's wrong with your arm? I was like, I don't know, man. Tell him I told him in Spanish. I'm like, hey, dile que estoy bien, que no pasa nada. He's like, oh, no, he said he's good. He's like, well, he just sounded like he was speaking English just right now. And I was like, damn, I almost blew my cover, right? So we're there. And then,
isn't that cool too? Like we can juggle that. Yeah. We can juggle with like we want to be stupid or not.
So I was just like, wow, it's crazy. Yeah. But yeah, man, the fight world is pretty interesting because like you think about it this way. It's just like when you go to school, you want to be the most popular person, or you want to do something to change everything that everybody knows about you. And then when you get to that final level, everybody's like, "Oh man, that's pretty awesome. He's actually a fighter." And they don't believe you, right? Until they see you start losing all this weight. They see you're I
remember seeing you, dude. Like I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
You're working out, and people are like, "Who? What the hell? What happened to the fat guy?" I'm like, "Oh, man, the fat guy wanted to fight,
Yeah. And then it's so cool because like that's the thing, dude. It's like I know a lot of young dudes that are like, man, I want to lose weight, I want to get in shape, and it's like they go to the gym, they just do bench press, all this kind of like basic stuff, and I was like, dude, start fighting. You start fighting, like you're gonna get in the fucking best shape ever. Yeah. And but how did that fight end? The one with you and your arm.
The last one, the second one, it ended me losing by decision. But it was pretty funny because the guy was like, "Yeah, I whooped your ass and everything." And everybody was mad at him. They're like, "No, you wouldn't have whooped his ass if we would have had another hand." Yeah. And the guy was saying muscle over technique, and he was just going crazy, right? And I was just like, in the back, we were talking in the back, and I was like, "Hey, man, you won. That's fine. I'm not gonna. Yeah. You got your hand risen, right?" Yeah. And then he's like, "We could run it back." I was like, "Bullshit, nah, I don't want to run it back. Yeah. Like, you already beat me. You beat me. It was a decision. There's no reason to get salty about it. Yeah. You did not really prepare. The guy didn't really prepare. He was overweight, and we had to have a catch weight. So now I had to catch up to the guy on the weight. So,
how do you do that? You just like
what that happens is like let's say if it's a catch weight and the guy's 200 pounds and you're 175, you got to try to get that weight back. But you got to get it within 24 hours. So if you do that, it's
you're just eating and eating and eating.
You're eating and eating, and then also you could hurt yourself because now your body's like, why am I eating so much if I was just starving? Now I'm trying to gain weight, but you can maybe gain weight like maybe 10 pounds, 6 pounds, and then you got to start taking shits because your body was eating clean. Right. And now you're shitting everything that's greasy now because you're eating burgers, you're eating fries, you're going to Golden Corral when you shouldn't not be eating that. Yeah. After you drop all that weight. So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. What is nutrition like when you're training? Like I don't understand.
Nutrition is basically like in the morning you wake up, you have egg whites and then you have a protein shake, and then you have some nuts or some almonds, and that's what you eat in the morning. Then around 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock you have your snack. And you might have a protein shake, or you might have like a fiber bar. Right. And then around 2 to 4 you have a sandwich, whatever you want, like some chicken, which you can't put no salt on. You can't eat it like that. You gotta eat it.
And we're seasonal fucking people, man. Fuck that.
And then you gotta eat like a lot of vegetables, like broccoli and carrots and stuff like that.
I hear you.
And then at dinner you can have like a steak or whatever, but you can't have no sauce with it. You can't really have
like A1.
nah, A1. You know, you're just like, you know, it just depends on the person. It depends on the person.
Yeah.
But if you're fully dedicated, you're not gonna cut corners. You know, you're gonna actually try to get to where you want to get to, and then go forward from there. So that way you can be in shape. You don't want to be, you don't want to be in shape and then look fat at the same time. You want to be thin and get to it. You know. Yeah. So no cutting corners. And then at nighttime, you go train again, and then you come back. You drink another protein shake because it's better to drink a protein shake or have some chicken or a salad. And then after that, that's your whole meal today.
So how was it for you when changing from, I guess, the way we us Hispanics eat, just whatever the fuck we want to, and then to getting into eating in that type of way? Like what was that transition like for you?
That transition sucked because a lot of my friends, they do barbecues. And they got the brisket that they don't smoke, and you're like, oh, I can't.
You can smell that shit.
You smell it, you taste it, and you're like, nah. You're here with your little protein shake. You're shaking a little protein bottle, and you're just drinking, and like, come on, man, it's not gonna hurt. I'm like, no, it's gonna hurt, you know.
Yeah. It's
gonna hurt because if I eat that, I'm not gonna be able to drop it until 2 or 3 days from now. And I can run 10 miles a day. I can run 20 miles a day, but I'm gonna still have that in my system. Yeah. So, yeah, it was hard, man. It was hard.
I bet, dude. I bet. Because like, I fucking love eating. That's like my favorite fucking thing to do.
Yeah, it's like mine. I like to eat too. You know, even since a kid, I used to eat everything. Yeah. You know, so until now, like as an adult, you're trying to eat stuff that you're not supposed to, right? Yeah. Because you're trying to fight, or like you'll have a plate and you're like, oh damn, I shouldn't eat that. Yeah. And I gotta go train even harder. Yeah. But yeah, it was a big change. It was a big change.
No, I bet, man. And like, what was that like? Your first fight, like getting into the cage for the first time. Like, what were you thinking up? And like, what are you thinking when you're in the ring? When you're like in the mix? Like,
well, the thing is like, I don't know if you ever been like in a play. Yeah. You know, a school play. That energy.
That shit is terrifying.
Or like, you're shaking and everybody in the back, you're either doing a prayer, or you're like, hey guys, let's go rock this show. Let's give it the best show we can give, right? So with our coach, his name is Tony Orozco. He passed away from cancer. So rest in peace to him. He was real vocal all the time. Like, we'll be in the back and he was like, hey, we're gonna do a prayer. You know, we gotta pray because I don't want you getting hurt. I don't want the other guy getting hurt, but let the best man win, right? So we're going in and you're having the jitters because you dropped all that weight. You're trying to get your weight back. Yeah. You're walking in and it's funny because they'll go, Hector, you're fight number 3, right? So everybody's warming up in the back, and there's 12 fighters, from a different camp, and everybody's trying to train in this one little small room. Right. And then the guy goes in, and you hear everybody going, right? And then and you're like, oh shit, I wonder who got fucked up, right? Dude, that's so then crazy. The guy who comes from your tank, he comes in and he's all with his eye closed and his mouth is messed up. You're like, oh damn, okay. You look at the other guy, nothing on his face. So you start getting nervous now because that was number 1, right? You're number 3. Number 2, they take him out and they call his name. He goes in there. You hear the crowd roaring and cheering. You're like, oh shit, I wonder who got whooped. That guy wins. And then you go and they call you and now it's your turn. So they're playing your music and they have the camera rolling on your face and you're here. You're trying to look all cool and posing, and then you get in there. Then you get in there, and then it's like, okay, it's not me and my crew no more. It's just me in the corner with this guy and the referee. Yeah. And then when they start saying your name and where you're from and everything like that, and they cheer you or they boo you, man, that's
how does that feel? Have you been booed or? Yeah. What is that like?
I was booed because I was like being stupid, I guess. It's like I was being too cocky, and I was like, you ain't touch me. I'm doing all that stuff, and this is my first amateur fight. And I'm like, shut the hell up, dude. You're an amateur. You know?
Yeah.
So, you're just there showboating, or you're trying to do stuff that you shouldn't be doing. Yeah. And luckily I was showboating when the guy was far away from me, because if you do it in front of the guy,
that's
like,
dangerous.
Yeah, if your arms linked from the guy, he can get you.
Yeah, definitely.
So. Yeah, I mean, it was a good experience, and it's like on one of my first fight that we had, I came out to I think the Eminem song "Lose Yourself." Okay. So they made a video montage of all the fighters, and they kept showing me. Like, I was like, oh man, that's pretty awesome. They're showing me when I'm walking in. They're showing my hands, because there's a lot of signs that when you're ready, you're loose, you're loosening up, and then all of a sudden when you hear that guy walking in and they close the cage. You just clench your fist and it's like it's game on, and all you're thinking about is surviving. Because
I want to know what's that like in there, man.
It's like, think about it like this: if you're walking into a cage, you're comfortable. For some reason, you're comfortable. Because like if you do Muay Thai or if you do kickboxing, if you do boxing or anything, or any martial arts, you're being prepared to get kicked, punched, or submitted, knocked out. Depends how you are as a fighter. But once you walk in, and all that has to be inside the cage, right? So everything you work for, that's what you gotta apply in that cage. So if you don't apply it, or if you mess up, and let's say if you're doing a technique and you messed that one step, and you kind of doubt yourself, the guy realizes that you just messed up.
Yeah. So, and that's why they call it martial arts, man. It's literally an art. It's a fucking, like, it's a flow. Like, it's something there's something about it, dude. It's not like anything that I've ever like I can't compare fighting to anything else. It's just like it's its own fucking beast, dude. Yeah. And like how do you deal with like losing? Because that's one thing that people that's the thing people are afraid of. That's like, why I don't want to fight. Like, I don't want to get my ass beat. Like, I don't want to lose. So it's like, how do you deal with that?
Let's just put it like this. There's many ways of losing, right? A loss is a loss, right? But if you lose a fight and you walk away from the fight learning something from that fight, like that you messed up somehow, and you bounce back, that's perfect, because you learn. That's martial arts, right? But there's another way of losing, that when you lose, you take it out. And what I mean by that is, like, you leave the arena out of the cage and you're taking it on your team. You're cussing out your team. You're saying it's their fault. Why is it their fault? They just showed you how to do it. They know more than you.
Are you guilty of that? Or
no, never. I never blame anybody except myself. Right. I'm just doing examples because I used to see things in the back, that'd be, I lost because of you guys and stuff like that. I'm like, well, I don't understand, bro. They weren't in there. You were there. Yeah. You were fighting, not them. Wow. Because if they would have been in there with it, I think they would have whooped that guy's ass. You wouldn't have got knocked out. Shit. So the way I took the losses is I was learning something from the guy. Yeah. Like, okay, now this guy did this guy did that. This is what I did wrong. My timing was off on this technique. I shouldn't try that. Or why didn't I do the same technique again? Like, if I'm throwing a 4-hit combo and I land the first time and I see the opening again, why didn't I throw it again?
I get you.
Or just certain things that you gotta, you can't always blame people for your mistakes.
I know, 100%, man.
And then there's a lot of haters, as well, because everybody has a good training camp, but there's always that one motherfucker that's a hater. He's like, that's where you fucking lost, bitch. What were you at? I whooped your ass in training camp, but I ain't say it to anybody else. So it's like, whatever, dude. A loss is a loss. I'll come back. Yeah. But I mean. Yeah, you just gotta learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, and then, like, brushing off haters, dude. Like, like, there's something else, man. Like, like, it's just crazy how, like, people just, they enjoy, like, I guess, like, beating down on somebody, or just, like, what it is about it, or they get a kick out of that shit, and it's kind of fucked up. It's kind of fucked up, but that also shows a lot about of that person, like how, like, fucking crippled and broken they are inside.
Well, see, I think like this person I'm talking about, I'm not gonna mention his name, because it's like a code in our gym, right? But either way, when I was training jiu-jitsu, he was already a purple belt, I think, and then I was a white belt. Yeah. So he would always be like, well, why are you trying to act so tough? And I'm like, well, I'm from a rough neighborhood. Where you from? And I'm 33, and he must have been like 18, 17. But he was a higher belt than me. So he's over here just trying to talk smack to me. And I'm like, the more you get me mad, the more I'm going to take it out on you, Yeah. And he's like, you can't do shit to me. You can't do shit to me. So I'm like, man, whatever.
Well, and it's like that hierarchy thing. You have a belt that labels you, I'm better than you. And I have proof to show that I'm better than you.
Well, in the sense of a belt, I say you might get it because you've been there longer than me. Yeah. You might be training there longer than me, but you haven't been able to submit me. So that doesn't mean shit to me. Yeah. And that's the way I walked into the gym. Because, like I said earlier, I walked in from a background where we don't give up. Never give up. Yeah. If the guy got the gun in your face, you're still not going to give up. Yeah. If he shoots you, still don't give up. You give up when you're dead. Because
we rest when we die.
Yeah, because if you give up, there's no point then. Why did you go in that fight to begin with? Yeah. So, yeah, this guy was always complaining or talking mess about me. So I started proving it to everybody. Like, I came in as a 260-pound guy. I'm trying to become an MMA fighter. I'm trying to be a cage fighter. The people that were there before me, they were there, but they kind of gave me that look like, you know, are you sure you want to do this? And, you know, because in your mind, you think you're the best. Yeah. And if you don't think you're the best, then why are you doing it?
Yeah, yes. So
why?
Yeah.
Why? So it's like every morning, it just goes to like, this just goes to like fighting and everything in life.
Yeah.
You know, if you wake up, you're your own movie director. Yeah. What I mean by that, you wake up, you put your shoes on, you put everything on, you go take a dump, you go wash your hands, use the restroom, whatever you do, right? Then you get your cell phone, because not everybody has a cell phone. You don't get your newspaper no more, because a lot of people don't get newspapers like they used to. You look at things and you wonder what you're going to do for the rest of the day. How am I going to get this money? How am I going to do this? Once you walk out the door, you're your own director of your own movie, because everything you're doing is based on you. And then the other characters are your friends, right? Yeah. You go pick up your homeboy. Hey, let's go talk to these girls right quick, or let's go do this. Let's go hang out. You know, so... And MMA is the same thing. You're your own director. Yeah. You know, you got instructors that are telling you what to do, but you have to listen and you have to do what they're telling you. Even though you're like in your mind, like, that ain't gonna work. And then they get another guy and he whoops your ass with the move they told me, like, oh, that does work. Now I gotta train on that.
No, I get you. So. No, and I like how you said, you know, you're the best out there. You have to think that way. You know, and it like some people would twist that shit like, oh, that's conceited, or you know, that's wrong for you to think that you're the best out there and shit. But it's like, that's what fucking gets you through things, you know, and that's what keeps you good. That's what, you know, that's the coal to that fire, man. Because like even when I do these, I think my shit is the best shit ever. Like, these are the best fucking things, you know, and that goes with art, you know, making music, you know, and that ego thing where it's like, you know, you shouldn't have an ego and all that kind of shit, but it's like, bro, like that's it. That's the thing. That's your personality. That's part of you. You know, you can't kill that thing off. It's what drives you to keep going forward. And I don't know, man, like I've struggled with that a lot, where it's like, you know, you're in conflict with other people's egos too, and you know, and I mean, how do you deal with, like, I guess, having your ego and with those other people, you know, because I mean, fighters, those guys are on a different level, so it's like, you know, you guys are always bumping heads, stuff like that. What is that like? Yeah,
let's just say with MMA fights and jiu-jitsu, everybody has an ego, right? But at the end of the day, you're there to be better, you know, so leave your ego at the door, like they say. And then when you get back out of the gym, pick it back up. Because we're here to train as a unit. Yeah. You know, it's like if you look at a lot of MMA fighters, like let's say Conor McGregor, you look at Khabib, you know, they're a unit, man. They fight together. They all have egos, but they all manage to somehow mold each other and be better. Yeah. So that's what you want to be. You want to be a better rendition of whatever you're coming in the gym with. Yeah. So
no, I get that, and that's kind of cool how, like, everybody has that code too. You know, it's like an unspoken rule. You know, and like that's manhood too. You know, because I bet, like, that's the same thing that you deal with out in, like, the workplace. And I remember you telling me, like, you have your own, like, business. So talk about that. Like, what's that about?
Man, that's a funny story, man. Because, like, I was telling my son the other night, I was like, it's funny, like, a lot of when we were growing up, hip hop wasn't really how do I want to say this? Like, in our homes, we weren't allowed to listen to hip hop. You had to listen to salsa, merengue, cumbia, or especially in the weekend you hear Vicente Fernandez, so and you're over here cleaning, you know. Yeah. So I take it back, like I tell my kids, this all goes back to when I was a kid. Yeah. 89, I'm listening to NWA. We're not supposed to be listening to that. You know, my cousin finds the tape and we're like, oh damn, we should not be listening to this, right? We should not be listening to this, and we're like, straight out of Compton, and they're like, ¿Qué chica están cantando? We're like, oh, sorry, all right, well, sorry, we don't know that, right? So then we go from there. We go to like I was mentioning earlier. I was growing up in this neighborhood where I saw a lot of things. Yeah. And you know, just places like, hey, I want to be a millionaire one day, right? Everybody wants to be a millionaire, but the price to become a millionaire, it's a totally different ballgame, right? Yeah. So then we're in high school, and as I was telling my son, I was like, what changed my mind and trying to do my own business, because everybody works at the warehouse. Your tío or tía, right? Your mom. A lot of us work at restaurants, so I didn't want to do that, right? I didn't want to be stereotyped that way. I was like, I didn't want to do that. Yeah. So I was in this academy called the Ray Childress Foundation, right? Okay. And it was he was a football player for the Oilers, and he went to Dallas, and then he quit. But his mission was to like make us better, because he came to a broken neighborhood area where there was kids that were kind of knuckleheads, and I guess you had to get chosen.
Right.
So we got chosen to be in that academy. So in '96, I think he retired in '96 as a football player, and I was in his foundation. I had a lot of we did a lot of things like for the city, as volunteers. Yeah. You had to be, I think you had to have 20 hours of volunteer service. So this is still going back to what I'm talking about, business, right?
Right.
So we're going there, and then we're volunteering for politicians, and we're doing all these campaigns. We're doing the food bank. You're serving people food. You're doing all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have a meeting, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna make you the guy who's gonna have the speech." I never give a speech in my life. I'm like, well, "Damn, okay, well, what am I supposed to do?"
Giving speeches is something else, man. It really is.
They're like, talk about where you came from, and I was like, well, if I do that, you're not gonna like that, So they're like, no, just explain where you're from and stuff like that. So we go to the lady's house. We go pick up her kids from school. And it's a private school. I'm like, damn, private school, right? No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Go in. So then we go to her house, and it was like somewhere in the Heights. Beautiful house, man. Looked like a big mansion. I'm like, shit, I want this one these days. So anyways, we ended up graduating 99. So I was 96, 99. We graduated. And I'm working at I'm working at the mall right now. And it was at Sears. So I happened to see these guys coming in and out in box trucks. I'm like, hey, man, how much I make a week? $3,500. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm making like $200 a week over here. What am I doing here? Do you need a high school diploma? And they're like, no, you just work. Well, I happened to know the owner of the company. He was one of my good friends, Steve Siapi. He was dating one of the managers in our store. He goes, look, when you graduate, come work for me. Yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. How much? $35,000 starting off. And I was like, $35,000? I'm getting $12,000 here? No brainer, right? And at the same time, I was about to join the Marine Corps. And they're like, hey, come back on Monday. You got to get sworn in. I'm like, all right. Steve Siapi told me to come on Monday as well to go see about $35,000.
Wow.
So I'm like, $35,000 then was a lot of money.
Wow, this is cool.
So then I was like, all right, so cool. So we go from 99 to 2002. He sells his company in 2002. And the other owner was Gary Snyder. Yeah. And the reason I'm saying names is because these are the people that kind of helped me open up my business. And I was a helper, and they're like, all right, man, so we're going to do this. You're making $35,000, but we think you can make more if you do your own thing. So I was like, all right, cool. Do garage openers. Well, what I was doing is that I knew that eventually the store Sears was going to shut down, because when I left, they were in Chapter 8. Yeah. So I was like, all right, I knew a little bit of finance and stuff. So I was like, yeah, they're going to go down someday. But I'm going to get this money while they're still in business.
I get you.
So when I was doing my garage openers for that company, I was handing out my business card. Like, hey, don't call them, call me. So I was doing what we used to say in hip hop. They would hand out flyers, here and there. So this is where I got the game from, So I was like, all right, so I'm handing out flyers. I'm going out places. We're charging not too expensive, not too cheap. And then 2008, I was 2005. I was tagging doors. And even police officers were like, hey, you're soliciting. I'm like, what is that? They're like, you're soliciting. What the hell is that? Like, oh, you can't be doing that.
That's such a weird word, too.
So I'm like, well, here's my business card if you ever need me. He's like, we told you can't solicit. That's fine, man. Here, just take the card, bro. And they would take it, and eventually they would call me and they're like, hey, you had a good attitude that day. So that's why they gave me that job. All right, cool. So, your police officer will do it for less than what we charge other people. So then once we started doing that, we started seeing like, man, there's potential in this. Yeah. So 2008, I left the company. And they're like, well, you can't do certain things around the city. You're going to have to sign a contract. I'm like, well, no, I'm already too big, man. Like, I'm my own hip hop, I'm my own star. Like, I'm going to get this money regardless. Yeah. So we did that, and then we ended up getting a contract with Sears, who I used to work for before they got terminated. Then went to Lowe's, and then we went to Home Depot. And so far so good. I was able to put my son through college and pay for his college, so he graduated with no debt. Now we got my daughter's quinceañera coming up, so now we're doing that.
That's so crazy. And so, like, how did you juggle? I mean, all of that, and then at that same time, you were fighting too, right?
Yeah.
So you had all those things going on, plus your family. Like, how was that juggling all those balls?
It's pretty hard because you wake up in the morning, you go to work. You got your guys working for you. You got a 4-man crew. Yeah. You got to give them their work. Then you got to do your job. Yeah. And then you're trying to make it to the gym by 7:00, and you're like 2 hours away from the gym. Excuse me. So now you have to really haul ass. So then you get there, then you get home, you barely kiss your kids, you know, go take a shower because you don't want to smell, you know, funny at work. I mean, at gym. And then you're training from 7 to 9. And then you got to do the routes. Then you got to do paperwork. You got to do invoices. So by 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, you're going to sleep. And then my thing was, like, I would train at 4 o'clock in the morning. I would run 5 miles in the morning. By 5:30, I was done. And then I would be working out my muscles and everything like that. And then in the afternoon, we would go and go train. I mean, not the afternoon. The evening, we would train from 7 to 9. Then I would do my paperwork and everything like that. And I still would work out from 11 to 1 a.m. in the morning. So I was doing more than my opponent was doing.
Dude, that's
because I wanted to be the best.
Yeah.
So whenever you're fighting and your guy's losing his breath, and you're still in shape, you know, because you're not even breaking a sweat. You're just like, okay, come on, bring it. Your adrenaline is pumping, but you're in shape. You're not gassed
it's like
out.
It's like double the boost, double the nitrous.
So you're up there, and that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You got to think you're the best. You know, you got to think you're the best. If you're second guessing yourself, then there's no point in you doing it.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell everybody, whoever wants to do MMA fights or anything like that, you know, work out hard, but you know, not just muscle. You got to work out on running. Your cardio is everything.
Oh yeah.
Because you could have all the muscle in the world, but you know, if you the first 5 minutes you're already gassed out.
Yeah.
Shit.
Dude, I suck at like jump roping, and I didn't realize how important jump roping is to like, you know, fighting and whatnot. And like, fuck, dude, that thing's cardio is a fucking killer, man. But what the cool thing is, like, you know, I swam all 4 years of high school, and I played water polo, and I did triathlons too. So it's like that kind of gave me that extra boost. And swimming is just a whole other thing that like helps you like build that cardio, that endurance, you know, and because you're moving through resistance and not breathing too, you know. And yeah, cardio is a huge thing, man. Gotta do the cardio. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, you just think like just opening my own business was a big step because like you got to break the normal, right? Like I mentioned earlier, your parents are just pushing you to go get that 40 hours a week, and you look at your check and you're like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this? You know, I got enough to go to the club and probably buy some diapers, and that's it, you know. And once we started doing this kind of business, which they don't really show you that in school, you know, they want you to they program us to work. If we wake up, go to school, do our job, you know, come back home, go play outside. That's it, every single day. And I was like, okay, why am I gonna go work at a warehouse that I don't want to work at no more? Making bare minimum where I could make this kind of money. You know, so that changed everything. And hopefully, like I tell my kids all the time, I inspired them to become, you know, better, because that's the whole point of life, right? You come from a shitty situation. You don't even pick the situation you're in. You just it's just dealt to you, and it just depends how you're gonna come out of it. You know, if you come from a shitty situation, go for it.
Having to fucking eat that shit sandwich, dude. And like that's the thing too. It's like we talk about, like, you know, you gotta work hard and get over that, and you know, be the best person you can be, and all this kind of stuff. But it's like we don't really talk about eating the fucking shit sandwich and the shit that you just like gotta like bite your tongue on, and you know, every morning that fucking plate of just dog shit just there waiting for you, you know. And I don't know how can you talk about that, like having to deal with like that the real muck, the real nasty part of, like, you know, living.
The nasty thing about like I always say, you wake up every morning as a kid and you have no other option than just to go do what you gotta do, right? Because that's what they're telling you gotta do. And then you grow up, and then it's like let's say, like for me, my example was 96 whenever I met these millionaires. And I was like, damn, I could become a millionaire. Even if I don't become a millionaire, at least I tried, right? And I want to change the way my kids live. Like, I don't want them, you know, growing up in this gang environment. And, you know, it's cool to have barbecues every weekend with your friends, and everybody's looking at the football game. But yeah, man, like, your kids don't want to be doing that. You know, your kids rather be outside playing. Or you remember when I used to be kids, we used to go to their house. We used to always go do stuff with your parents. And go have fun. We didn't want y'all be bored. You know, while we're talking, y'all being bored. We didn't want that. So we wanted y'all to have a good lifestyle. So that's what I chose, like, with my kids. And that's what I was telling them all the time. Like, I'm the best, so you should think you're the best too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's like you said, there's a shit sandwich every morning. I try to avoid that shit sandwich. You know.
Yeah.
I don't hang around with negative people. If you're negative, you're not in my circle.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
Like I had to cut people off that I've known for 20, 30 years because they were just negative.
Oh my
you know?
God. Yeah, like
It's
pessimistic too.
Yeah, it's like you're growing up and you're homies because you're growing up. You know your mom, you know the grandma and everything like that. But this guy does not want to change.
Yeah.
This person still wants to be hanging out in the corner, hanging out with the friends, just go holler at these girls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you're making your money, and they're like, you just think you're Uncle Tom, or you think you're all this and that. And I'm like, I don't think I'm anything. I'm still the same human.
Yeah, I'm just
but,
growing up.
But you are getting mad at the reason that I'm coming up, and you're still in the same situation. Like, we got the same 24 hours.
Yeah.
So why is it that I'm working out, you're still not working out? You're still not eating.
Wow, we have
right?
the same 24 hours.
Same 24 hours, man.
That's dope.
Same
That's fucking
hours.
awesome.
Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I remember one time we having a conversation with one of my friends. I said, man, we made $10,000 in a week. And that to me, it was a big deal. Because, like, I've never actually seen $10,000 in my bank account until that day. And that was all the hard work we put in. And he goes, you made $10,000 in a week? What the hell, you slanging? I'm like, nah, we ain't slanging, man. We're doing it right, you know. We're doing our correct job. Yeah. I got papers for it, you know. Yeah. He's like, nah. You're doing something else. And I was like, why can't you believe it? I wake up every morning. And he was working like at a light place where they were paying him like less than $8 an hour. Mm-hmm. And he was mad about his situation. I'm like, well, man, step up your game, you know? Yeah. Why get mad at me? Like, this is the way I'm looking at things. If you're looking at things differently, I'll see you on Saturday around 10 o'clock and we'll have a beer, but I got to go get this money. You know, there's no playing around.
Yeah, I get you. And so, I mean, you know, the reason, you know, those guys get mad and, you know, it really pisses people off is because, like, those walls, you know, like, how do you get beyond? I mean, because everybody's going to be faced with those fucking blockades and those fucking, like I said, those shit sandwiches, all that kind of shit. Like, how do you pretend and, you know, force your mind to get over those walls? Like, how do you get brush past that and how do you get ahead of those people? You know,
it's like okay, so I'm gonna put it like this. I have a lot of friends that we grew up in the same neighborhood. Yeah. We all had kids around the same time. We all did things together, right? But there's a moment in time that you gotta be like, okay, do I want to keep doing this shit and not have no money, or do I want to have money and still talk to these guys? Yeah. And girls, but why am I just chilling with them? Why am I just doing this? You know, we could be getting money. And it's just like in my mindset, it's all about money. Like if I wake up, I have to make money somehow. Yeah. You know, I gotta make money. These guys, they want to, like, the poor mentality in a sense, you know. Poor mentality is like, I'm going to go buy Jordans for my kids because I want to buy them Jordans. But then you can't pay your rent because you're paying for the Jordans.
Shock us.
Or you're gonna go buy a brand new Hummer on 26s or 30s just to show off, but you could barely afford to pay your rent, your cell phone.
Have you read that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yeah.
And how he talks about why the poor stay poor is because we buy luxuries. Yeah. That's all we do is buy luxuries. Stop fucking buying luxuries.
Yeah, it's like I forgot. My friend showed me. He's a Jamaican guy. His name is Stephen Ferret, and he changed my life. Because we were there, we were always working together, and he goes, hey, man, you got to read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm all right. Mm-hmm. So I read that one sentence you just said right now, and I had a 2002 fully equipped Escalade, and I was like, oh, man, this is I'm the boss now, you know? Yeah. So I read that, and I'm like, I'm fucking stupid. So I went back to the dealership, and I traded it in for, like, a truck, and it was like a $20,000 truck, maybe no $15,000 truck. Mm-hmm. So I from 35 to 40,000, I dropped my payment deal, got it lower, and then I started living differently, because it is true, like, you know, you want to be better than everybody else, but sometimes you can't be because you're just pretending to be. I don't pretend to be anything. I'm just a human, just like everybody else, and at the end of the day, I know that I'm better because the way my lifestyle is. Yeah, you know, my kids are living better. My wife's living better. You know, everything is better because that's what I want.
Because that thing in your head switched.
That mindset.
It switched, And you know, does it feel wrong that you switched it? Because, like, you know, there's that thing, that imposter syndrome, that, like, someone told me this, but it's like, you know, it's like, why are you thinking like that? you know, you shouldn't be thinking that you don't come from money. You're broke.
Mhm.
You're poor. You're just a dumb Mexican.
Yeah.
You know. So like, does that? How did that mentality thing switch? Like, was it weird? Did it feel wrong? Like,
whenever I moved out of my old neighborhood in '99,
yeah,
I was pretty sad, right? Because I had just gotten married October 8th, October 10th. I was moving, but I wasn't telling anybody that I was moving.
Yeah.
So me, my friends, we were just packing our stuff up.
Yeah.
And I was crying, right? My wife said, "Why are you crying? Because you got married?" I was like, "No, because I'm leaving my friends. You know, I grew up with these guys." But then when I ended up moving, like, I felt bad that I moved, but at the same time, I felt good. Because I'm not hearing any more gunshots. I'm not hearing nobody getting raped. I'm not seeing anybody slanging dope. I'm not seeing anybody, you know, just in general. Police ain't even messing with me no more.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm out of the neighborhood now. So I was a part of a system that I grew up in. And when I turned that switch that you just mentioned, that mindset, like, I got to go make it now. I got to make it happen.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling bad for anybody else.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't. And it sucks because, like, you know, like, for me, I have that Superman mentality sometimes. Like, I just want to save everybody. And, like, here's the answers to everything. But it's like, you can't do that. Like, there's no way you can, you know, come on, guys, let's all come along. Just follow me. Do what I want to do. Do it like how I'm doing it.
Well, I mean, you can in a sense, but then you'll realize who your true friends are.
Yeah, there you go.
Because, like, you know, they'll be like, "Oh, Jason's winning. You know, he's showing us how to do this, but he thinks he's better than us." No, I'm not better than you. It's just that I'm trying to show you a way how to get out of the situation, and you still want to be in it, and you want to talk bad about me because I'm trying to do better.
Yeah, and then we get very comfortable in our own shit, you know, because we got used to our own smell, and we don't even know that we're the ones that are in the wrong, you know, and it sucks. It sucks because, like, it fucking is the worst feeling, like, being wrong or being the one in the wrong, or just like being, I guess, like, this one that was last to catch on, you know. But the cool thing is that, like, no one cares. Like, no one cares if you catch on today or tomorrow or next week. As long as you catch on, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it sucks because, I mean, like, I see people, man, like, I see my dad's friends, my mom's friends, like, people that just haven't caught on, you know, and they're still in that fucking same hole that they dug themselves.
Yeah.
And that hole is being dug, like I can tell, like, for me, like, I started digging that hole, like, in high school, you know, even, like, parts of middle school, where, like, and I can only imagine how early and how big people's holes have been dug and how much they just keep going and going down in there, you know. And it's tough to see that shit.
Yeah, what I come to realize is, let's just say, I'm just talking about not only the Latino community, but the Black community, and I'm speaking about those two because that's what I grew up in, right?
Right.
And I grew up with Asians, but I'm gonna show you the difference, what I'm talking about. So in the Black and the Latino community, we come up with, you know, like, we see our parents drinking, we see them smoking. You got their friends, they got their friends, you know, and it's just like this big mixture of people. Yeah. So in the Latino community, we see, like, a lot of dads, they're handing their kids beer, and they're starting to drink at 15. So now they're 22, 23, and they ain't got shit done in their life, you know what I mean? No, and it's just true. And in the Black community too, you know, just because of my experience, I'm not talking about. So if anybody gets mad, it's just my experience, my thoughts, and my view. Simple as that, right? So, you know, a lot of the Black guys that I grew up with too, and the Hispanic guys, they were just always in the corner, you know, trying to act like a D-boy, which it was looking cool, right? You walking around with your chain, but then all of a sudden you get chain snatch, and, you know, stuff like that happens. Yeah. But yeah, I just think, like, a lot of the times the like, how am I trying to say this? Like, you become like a product of your own environment in a sense, because if I'm showing my son, who's a young kid, it's okay to drink, it's okay to get high, it's okay to smoke, it's okay to swear, it's okay not to respect people. So by the time they're 22, 25, they ain't shit. They're just like their parents now, because that's what they were shown, right? Wow. So, cut to, like, if it's like us, right? Yeah. Well, I say us because I seen you grow up, right? You see my son grow up, so y'all were friends and everything like that. So I don't ever think your dad handed you a beer, ever handed you a blunt, ever handed you anything to stop your vision or stop your dream,
Right.
in a sense, right? I mean, there's things you might have done or your mom might have done, but it's got you to this part right here. So you're winning because you're in school. You actually studied pretty well. You had good grades. You managed to be in the swing team. You did all these things, productive stuff, right? You weren't out there just trying to shoot a basketball during the day, and then at nighttime you're trying to be some dope dealer. Yeah. Who ain't shit, you know?
I was kind of scared of that. That's why like, I didn't want to do it.
You know, it's like, so that's what I mean by that. Like a lot of people that I know, I just don't want to say no names, right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, you kind of know some people too, of what I'm saying. It's like, why do that? And then when your son or daughter's not making it, why complain about everybody else's kid that's making it? I just don't see the point in that. Like, why are you gonna get upset? Or or just people always have attitude towards people because they're doing things, and then when you don't invite them no more to the parties, hey, why don't you invite me? Well, I mean, it's like, bro, you don't fit my criteria with the people,
Yeah.
Like, you just don't.
And as shitty as that is, you gotta do it. Like, because like it, like you welcome your own demons. You bring those guys into your home and all that kind of shit. And that stuff just reeks off of people, and I didn't realize how crazy that shit is. Like it literally, like, it shows and it's out there, and like you have a conversation with someone for 5 minutes and it's like,
what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. You haven't grown up.
It's crazy. It's so wild. It's so wild, and like I talk to grown ass men, bro, and it's like I'm talking to one of my homies, like somebody that I know, dude. And it's like, bro, how? And that's my fear. That is my freaking fear. That and like becoming homeless or something like that, and like living on the street. Like, that's so terrifying to me.
Yeah, know? I mean, it's terrifying, but at the same time, I mean, just because I know you and I know the family, that would never happen. I mean, your mom will be the first one to whip your ass and get you back in the house, you know? Or like, cabrón, you're paying rent, you know?
Yeah,
you're paying rent, you're doing something, you know?
Yeah. No, and I used to think, like, man, like fuck my mom because she beat me and all this kind of shit and whatnot. But, like, I thank God now. Like, I'm so grateful that, like, I had that. Because I could there were so many things that I did wrong, you know, and I now that I think about it, like, it was so quick for me to just, like, I could have just kept going down, and who knows where the fuck I would have been. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, because even with my son, like, I remember when he was playing football, he told me one day, I'm just playing football because you want me to play football. I'm like, oh, shit, okay. What do you want to do? He's like, I want to be an actor. Oh, well, what do they have in your school? Theater. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be an actor. Yeah. Then he becomes an actor. He gets all these awards and stuff. I'm like, damn, bro. I'm like, you were trying to be somebody you weren't. And then when you became who you wanted to be, you did good. So now I'm like, hey, whatever you want to do now is just go for it, because sometimes you hold yourself back because you want to impress somebody.
You do things for other people.
Yeah, and then when you grow up and you're already, 23, 24, 25, you're like, I could have done this, but now I haven't done it because I just wanted to prove something to that person. Prove it to yourself. Yeah. It's like me, whenever I want to do MMA fighting, I remember buying the UFC video game, and I made my own character. And I was like, I said he was going to be 185. He's going to have a goatee. He was going to have a little bit of muscle. He was from, I made my own player. And then I was like, cool. And I'm over here doing all these moves on there. And then when I get to fight, I'm like, damn, I made that shit happen. Yeah. And it came to because I wanted that. I wanted to try, And like I said, it wasn't UFC, but to me, it was like the UFC. I wasn't getting paid UFC money,
But you're in the mix. Like that's, nobody else can say that other than you.
Yeah, so, like, my thing is, like, I have a friend who did it before me. And when he was doing it, I was like, I could fight better than that. Yeah. I could fight better than that. And then I remember when I was trying to get into it, and I saw Derek Lewis, who's in the UFC now, with the most knockouts. He was in the back, and he was a younger kid. He must have been like 18 or 19 at the time. And I see him out there working in the back, and then I was like, damn, that's pretty cool, right? The big black guy. I'm like, dang, he got some hands on him. He could kick. And then we see him make it to UFC, and I was like, oh, shit. That's what's up, dude.
That's crazy.
That's what's up. I'm like, he made it, because he was at the Silverback training camp, and then he ended up moving to another camp, and then, eventually made it to UFC, and I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome, dude. I know somebody who made it to UFC. Yeah. I also know who made it to the NFL. You know, I met a lot of people down the line, and I was just like,
and it just goes to show you that like you can do it. Like there's like it happens, it works. Like there's hope for like, I don't know, getting out of whatever fucking mess that you're in. You know, and no matter like how fucking much of a loser you might be, or how much of a fucking like working a shit job and you got no fucking, you know, nothing going for you, you know, like there's still things you can do. Like you're breathing, you got legs and arms, like you're the most blessed thing in the world, dude.
Yeah, most people, I don't know what it is with this mentality. Loser mentality is what they call it. Like you think everybody's against you, you know, you think you can't do stuff, but you haven't tried it, you know. You say you want to get in shape, but every time you go to the gym, you just look at the weights and walk out. You say you want to get in shape, you want to lose weight, but you go to Burger King and go order your meal, wolfing down the fries and a big drink. I mean, I'm guilty of that too, right?
Sure.
But
we do that all the time.
It's like, you know, why have that loser mentality? Or like, if you're working at a job that you don't want to work at, then why are you still there? Why are you still there?
Okay, so but what happens if you can't get out of a situation like that? Like you're working a shit job and I don't want to fucking be there. Like,
even if you're working a shit job, try to look for another one, you know. Just try.
Just apply to,
like, it's just apply yourself to what you want to do, right? I mean, because a lot of times you need certifications to get in a certain job. It might cost money, you might not have the money. Go online, figure out how to get it. There's a lot of scholarships for Latinos, there's a lot of scholarships for the white kids, there's a lot of scholarships for black kids, Asian kids. You can't tell me there's no way to get it. Just try to find a way to get it, you know. I know McDonald's always has scholarships for people, you know, trying to get into school, try to get a better job. Try to save your money up, you know. Sometimes, I mean, I could say it because of me. You know, I wanted to get certifications and certain things, and I was over here worried about my rims on my car or on my speakers on my car. I could have gone to what I wanted to become, you know. Having my speakers and everything is not going to help me with anything. Just gonna help me with the system when they hear me coming down the block. Oh, that's Hector. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, where's the accolades, you know? And in this life, you want to have accolades, even though if you're in a shitty job and you can't actually find one that you want. I mean, strive, work harder, try to get your foot in the door. You know, it's not what you know, it's who you know. You know, you gotta make contacts. You gotta be able to talk your way into certain things. You know. It's like, I don't know if you ever seen that movie with Will Smith. I think it was Pursuit of Happiness.
I haven't seen it, but
whenever he's trying to become something and like everything is kicking him down, but he finds a way to find and get to it, and needs to get to, and he gets the internship. They're not paying him a damn thing, but he's trying to get his foot in the door, and he finally makes it. Now shit's gonna change, and that's when the movie kind of, you know. So yeah, I mean, you just gotta work hard. You gotta work hard. I mean, I'm from the ghetto, straight from the ghetto. No one offered me anything. No one said, Hector, come work with us. We're gonna make it happen. I had to make it happen. You gotta pay attention to people sometimes too. Sometimes the main boss will be showing up to the shitty job that you don't want to be at, and he might know somebody that needs somebody else at that other job you're trying to get, and that's how you make.
You gotta
weave your way in.
Weave your way in, you know. And like it's hard too, you know, because you know, like there isn't a book on like, hey, how to talk to people and how to be nice and how to, you know, like I said, weave your way in. And it's something you just got to learn on your own. Yeah,
because I'm a person who pays a lot of attention to detail, right? So I remember one time I was going in for a job interview to be at Lowe's, and I'm laughing because the lady's like, hey, good afternoon, how you doing? The guy's like, what's up, man? You know what I'm saying, man? I need to try for the job, man. So as soon as he walks away, the lady's like, we're not hiring that guy. So I walk in, I'm like, hey, good afternoon, man. My name is Hector, and blah, blah, blah. I represent this company. Here's all my credentials. Here's all my paperwork that I typed up myself, and we're trying to do business with you guys. She's like, oh, okay, well, we'll give you a shot. We'll give you a call within a 5-minute period, you know. But as soon as that guy walked in with, you know, talking the slang, the street slang, they weren't trying to deal with him.
No, man.
Because you're going to talk to customers that way, you know?
Yeah, and then they get mad because it's like, how come? Like, what did I do wrong? And it's like, dude, like, that's the problem. Like, you don't even know what you're doing wrong.
Or my favorite thing is like when you're walking into a job interview, you know, look professional, man. Like, have your pants pulled up. Because a lot of kids walk in with their pants sagging, look like they just took a shit on themselves, and I'm like, "What are you doing, bro?
Why do people sag? Like, I don't understand that."
You're trying to get the job, man. Like, whatever you do out of work, that's what you do out of work. But when you're trying to get the job, you know, dress up with a suit and tie, man. Look nice. Have a nice fresh haircut. Yeah. Don't like you just look like having you nappy dreads, like you never took a shower in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you know. You stinking up the place. Or my all-time favorite, you show up, because we get guys that come to our company and they smell like weed. I'm like, damn, bro. I mean, if that's how you feel in a job interview, I can just imagine at the customer's house, you know. Or if you're gonna come in, don't smell like an ashtray. You know, smoking on the cigarettes. Just, you know, try to look professional. Yeah. Look at people, study people to the way you want to be. You know, like I wish I could be like that guy. Yeah,
comparing yourself.
Yeah, that's what you want to be. Yeah, you know, because we come, like, I come from a generation where there was a lot of movies of mobster guys. You know, like the Goodfellas.
Yeah, you know, it was a badass movie.
You know, you're talking about the Goodfellas and you're talking about the Godfather. Man, you're just looking at all these things, like how they move and how they dressed and how they talk, and you're like, I want to do that, but I want to be selling drugs, but I want to dress like those guys, you know. Or you're looking at TV personnel, you know, like you look at the Steve Harveys, everybody was laughing at him because he had those goofy looking suits, but he was getting jobs, you know. Or George Lopez, whenever he had his suits and ties, there's a reason why he was dressing like that, because he finally made it. Yeah, he didn't want to go there with T-shirts and Dickies and, you know, be stereotyped. Yeah, he wants to look successful.
I'm sorry, wearing a suit for these now.
he wants to look professional. He wants to win. You know, even like it's just crazy, man.
Yeah, no, it is, and then like, I mean, you know, it's crazy, but like your appearance, like that's a huge thing, you know, and because as much as people tell you like, oh, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. We do that.
Yeah, everybody does that.
That's the number one thing we all do.
I mean, they always judge me because I always had like a mad face, you know, like, fuck that guy. Like, and when they meet me, they're like, he's real nice. He's a nice guy, man. Yeah. Like, oh, he's cool.
Just we got that RBF like a motherfucker, man.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, he's always mad. I'm always mad. I'm always. I just come from a neighborhood where everybody's a suspect until I get a chance to talk to them. What I mean by that is like, I don't know you, so let me talk to you. Let me see what's up. Oh, you're a nice guy. Oh, you're a piece of shit. Let me just get the hell out of here, you know. So that you know, even when you go into a job, try to smile. Yeah. Don't go in there mad dogging.
Oh yeah, smiling is a huge thing, bro. And like, and that's another thing too. Is like talking to people and like complimenting them on like whatever it is, and like, hey man, cool shirt you got on, or all that kind of shit. Or it's like, hey, I like your hair. It's pretty dope. You know, that changes the environment immediately. Like and it's like, you know, you come in and like you're radiating this, like the smile, you know, so you're radiating this good, and it's like, okay, like I can come up and talk to you, and it's like not a issue, you know. And there's that thing where guys like, oh, like come in with the mad, like the mad dogging face and shit like that, like I'm the toughest motherfucker in here, like I'm that motherfucker, bro. Like, and I met those people, man, and it's like nobody wants to hang out with you because no one wants to talk to you because you're like it's like a force field you build around yourself, and then you wonder why, you know, why don't nobody want to be my friend? Why don't want to talk to me? It's because you're a fucking douche. Yeah, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, you just gotta be careful, like giving compliments nowadays. You know, you can't give that many compliments to people.
Well,
cancel culture.
Man, fuck them. I don't give a fuck.
No, it's just what I mean by.
What do you mean by that though? Like, I don't.
It's like if you go, let's say if you go to a store, right, and you see this girl walking, man, you look pretty, man. You look nice today. What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Oh,
you're hitting on me?
Yeah. Oh my God, you're some weirdo. I'm like, damn, I just said hi. You look pretty today, you know.
You know what?
You know.
I mean, I don't say that to some people, but like I went to Burlington with a friend of mine, and she was there with me and whatnot, and I was like, I went to the cashier, and I was like, hey, how you doing? And she was like, hey, how are you? And I was like, hey, I like your shirt, and she was just like,
looks down and
creep. How is that creepy? Like, what is that? Why? Like, what did I do wrong? You know, I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't know what that is. You know, but
it's a mental thing, man. Because like I said, mental health, right? It's like social media has a big deal with that too, because you know now everybody's on their cell phone. Like when you go on a dinner date. Yeah. I don't know if you experienced that. You go with a girl, you're trying to have a conversation. She's on hee on her phone. Like, bitch, I'm here spending money with you. You know, I'm here spending money with you. Or, you know, you're trying to have a conversation. Instead of her talking to you, she responds it on her cell phone and bing. You're like, oh, I'm here talking to you. Like, what's going on? You know? Yeah, it's just like when we were growing up, you know, hey, you're very pretty or something. Or you know, just tell a girl something that's
like,
nice.
Oh, you're catcalling me.
Oh,
and
thank
shit
you.
Like that.
Oh, thank you. Now I feel nice, and now they're like, oh, you can't do that, you know, because now they feel weird about it. So It's just like you said at the register. You know, you're trying to tell her something, but then again, how many guys would probably try to hit on a girl while she's trying to do her job, and she's like, "Oh,
God, yeah.
Nah, this pretty boy douche over here is trying to holler at me, and I'm just."
But it was weird because I was with my friend, and she was a girl, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and like it was like I didn't mean it in that way, but I guess some people just take things wrong, you know.
Well, yeah, nowadays too, like there's people that the couples don't care. They say something to another girl, they're down with that, you know.
That's so fucking weird.
That's what the probably girl was thinking. Who knows? I'm just you know saying stuff.
True.
No, I don't really know.
Yeah.
But how she was thinking that day, but you know, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So
damn. And that's a shame, dude. That's a shame because I fucking it's like my favorite thing to do is like talk to people,
mm-hmm.
you know, and it just it's kind of weird, and it's kind of like, hey, reality check, you know, like not everybody's like you. Mm-hmm. You know, but like to me, it's like, come on, man. Like I'm just
loosen up, man.
Loosen up a little bit, you know. It's not you don't have to be all so tight and.
It's not like you were relying on hey, mamacita.
Yeah, like I would not be doing that.
You didn't do that. You actually were there at her job, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, we come a long way because I remember when we used to be growing up, that's what they would do. Hey, what's up, mamacita? And they started, you know, whistling and stuff, and the girls looking out like, man, these motherfuckers here, let me alone, you know.
Yeah.
Now where we at now, it's crazy.
Yeah, you can't even say hi to a girl and shit like that and whatnot. I mean, I don't know. I still do, and I don't give a fuck. Like, and that's one thing too. It's like I guess, like you know, girls are so quick to I guess sometimes like reject and everything like that, which is like cool. Like whatever, do your thing. Like I'm not, but it's like the whole thing with just saying hi to somebody and like just somebody just like totally just ignores you or shit like that, or like it's so crazy to me, dude. Like how do y'all make friends? How do y'all live y'all's normal lives and not do that?
Yeah, just another thing too is like when we're growing up, and it's just like you. Whenever we seen each other, we look each other eye to eye.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a sign of respect.
Yeah.
It's not like to look down, like, oh yeah, just have a conversation like that, looking down. That means you probably have a weak mind. You know, like the people are trying to judge you or something. It's not like that. It's just, you know, form of respect.
Yeah.
Look at another man eye to eye, or even a woman. Yeah. Just to let them know, hey, I'm listening to you while you're talking to me, not ignoring you. You know, so who knows, man? Who knows
I hope it gets better. I hope so too. I mean, because this world that we're living in right now is kind of crazy. Everybody's shooting everybody, and especially everybody's fighting everybody. Everybody's scamming. Yeah. You know, you can't really trust people like you used to no more. No, I get you.
You gotta watch your back all the dang time. You know, there's a camera, and everywhere you go, you know, look at poor Dana White. He was having his New Year's Eve party. His wife slapped him. He slapped her back, and now he's in trouble. That's crazy. Because there was a camera everywhere. So
yeah, and we carry around a camera. We carry we have like so much power in these little fucking boxes that we carry around.
Yeah, I know, like most people that have cell phones, they're like, I don't want nobody tracking me, so I'm gonna take off my location. I'm like, they're still tracking you, dumbass. And every time you go to the tower, it bings every time you go through there, so they know your location. You know, nothing is It's like we say, back in the day, you could whip somebody's ass and not get caught. Today, you whip somebody's ass, you're all over social media because there's cameras everywhere.
It's crazy.
You know,
that's crazy. Nah, man, this is cool. This is this is a good one.
Oh, okay.
This is a good one. Yeah, man. I appreciate you coming in, bro. Like, I don't know. It's cool to see. Like, I love getting these point of views. Like you know, like coming from an older generation. You know, because like that's one thing that we're, I guess, us young people, we're trying to dismiss. Like, you know, old people in their. I'm not saying you're like old, but I'm saying it's like we're dismissing those fucking valuable ass lessons that.
Yeah, they're trying to erase. Like we say, they're trying to erase history and rewrite history, right?
How?
But the old history got you here, so now add on to your history.
Yeah.
Don't erase it.
Yeah.
Because history is very important. We come from a lot of origins. We come from a lot of things. A lot of the old school ways still work in the new world age, like we say. If it wasn't for like Elon Musk and, you know, Einstein, who had all these theories, and, you know, just smart people, even dumb people had ideas, you know. Yeah. But it's
I got some ideas.
It's like we say, it's a new world, so
yeah.
They're just trying to erase everything that was old and bring everything to the new. But at the same time, if you're erasing the old, it makes no sense, you know?
Yeah,
makes no sense at all.
Fuck that, dude. No, I'm trying to, even if I can't change the whole world, I'm gonna try to change like my little garden. I'm gonna try to like, you know, keep some type of that shit preserved, you know, because like I don't know, that I'm so afraid of what it's gonna be like in the future for like whenever I have a family, you know, and there's no way in hell like I want them to deal with the stuff that people are dealing with now, you know.
With that being said, then you gotta make it a point to show your kids what you want to show them, and your values, not everybody else's values, because it's your household.
Yeah.
Not everybody who lives out of your household thinks the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you want to show them like respect, and you want to show them, you know, you could become something. Don't be a part of the machine to where you're just gonna be a dummy in line. You know, you want to be that kind of person that is gonna stand out.
Yeah.
You want to be that person who's gonna be better than everybody else. Not in the sense that you think you're better, right? Because everybody's better than everybody in their own mind. But you got to prove it. You know, by getting the grades and getting educated. Make sure that the values that you have, you pass it down to them. I mean, you can't whip their ass no more, right? But you don't need to. You can just talk to your kids, because I haven't whooped my son in a long time. Yeah. He's 22. I think I stopped when he was like 10. So it was mainly just having a conversation with him, like, hey, I'm not going to whip your ass, but I'm going to talk to you. Yeah. You know, so talking to somebody is better than whipping their ass, I guess, because then you're going to have a sore ass cheek, and then he's still going to talk shit to you, right? So you don't want that. You want to be able to instill your values to your kids. Okay. So that's the best thing I think that's the best thing I could say, you know, like whatever is valuable to you, make it valuable to them. So that way, eventually, when you die and they're grown up and somebody tries to give them a shit sandwich, like, I don't want that shit, you take that shit back. Yeah. You know? Oh, man, that was fucking well said. That was awesome. That was good. That was good. Do you want to shout out your business? Like, nah, man, I'm good. I'm good. No shout out businesses, but hey, no, but that was awesome. Yeah. That was awesome. That was really cool. And like I said, I appreciate you coming in and doing this with me, man. And like whenever, I remember you telling me you wanted to start yours and stuff like that. Like, yeah, we're gonna have it up and running by this year. That's cool. Yeah. It's just it's in the works. It's like, you know, you want to do things in life, and then sometimes you don't have time, but you gotta find time to do it. So if I found time to do MMA, raise kids, you know, with my wife, you know, and just live out of the norm, I guess, like one would say. Yeah, I can make my podcast, you know. Let's do it. Like, I'm here on your podcast, so, you know, hopefully you go to mine whenever I get mine done. And I've always wanted to be a guest on somebody's podcast. We'll go from there. You know? Because it's pretty fun. It's pretty dope, huh? Yeah, it's pretty fun. That's cool. Yeah. No, I really appreciate it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And like I said, whenever you want to come back on, too, let me know. And just okay. We'll do. And then whenever I upload it, and I'll send you everything, and you can do what you will with that and stuff. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, like we said, we get the ball rolling on yours, you know? Yeah. I got a lot of people that I know that listen to podcasts, and we'll try to get you some more views and get some more subscriptions, right? Yeah, but that's not my thing, though. Like, I want people to enjoy like a real heartfelt conversation, like the one we just had right now. Like that's my thing. And in all honesty, like, it's not really for me, it's for you, and it's like for that one dude that's like struggling with whatever it is that they're struggling with, you know, because like that's kind of what saved me in a minute, you know, and it's kind of what's gotten me through things, was just the point of views of others, really. Yeah. Also too, like, you got to be true to yourself. Yeah. Be true to yourself. Don't always be fake. Yeah. You know, we're growing up, you're trying to be fake. You know, you want to hang with the cool kids, the bad kids, and you're just being fake. Yeah. Then when you grow up, you were fake your whole life. You ain't shit now because you were fake your whole life. You were just trying to fit in. Yeah. Be true to yourself, and whatever you feel like you want to do and accomplish in life, go for it. Because at the end of the day, if you don't go for it, somebody else is. Yeah. It's like an old saying from Les Brown: don't walk to your dream, run towards your dream, because somebody else is gonna try to step in that line and get it. And that's what you want. You want to be the first one there. You don't want to be the last one, because then somebody else already got the place. Yeah. You want to be the first one. You want to be the first. You want to be the first Jason Caballero to do something, right? Yeah. That's what you want. You don't want nobody else being Jason Caballero, and then you're not that guy. You want to be that guy. I appreciate that. Right? 100%. Yeah? 100%. All right. That was good. That was awesome. That was good respect. That was cool. Yeah, man. Yo. All of that.